Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Wherever you are, I hope you are feeling great. I hope you're with family or friends and you are happy. I am so excited to be talking to you today and doing this. It has been too long, way too long. And if you're wondering what I've been doing or why I haven't put out a video for so long, I can talk a little bit about that at the end of this video if you want an update on me and the channel and where I'm hoping to go from here. Spoiler alert, hasn't been great. But with that said, I'm really excited to be talking today because today I'm going to be talking about the year 2022. And the year 2022 for board games has been a banger of a year. It has put out more games that have ended up reaching my upper echelon of favorite games of all time than maybe any other year, which is incredible. And so I had to put out this video where I'm just talking about the games that, this is not a top 10 list. This is not just a list of, these are the best games I played this year. But these are the games that this year I've played that are within my favorites of all time. And I can make a whole list about it, which is absolutely incredible. So I'm really excited to talk about some of these. So before I get too deep into this, I do want to give some honorable mentions because I've played several games this year and some of them have been really good, really interesting, really fun. But for whatever reason, I haven't called them one of my favorite games of all time yet. And the first, actually all of my honorable mentions, I don't have with me. You can tell that they're not my favorite games of all time because I don't have them anymore or I never got them to begin with. But the first that I want to talk about is like this game right here, Quacks of Quedlinburg. Now, you've probably heard of this. If you haven't, it's a fantastic family weight game of randomness and laughing at your hubris to just push your luck and go a little too far. Quacks is really something else. It's fun, it's zany, and sometimes you'll make mistakes and lose, and it's fun and hilarious. The game I'm actually talking about is not this. This is an older game. I'm talking about Wonderland's War. Now, Wonderland's War, I think, is going to end up on a lot of people's lists of their games of this year. Wonderland's War is gorgeous. Wonderland's War is a really amazing production where they take the main mechanic of Quacks, which is pull things out of a bag and see what you get. There's some bad things in that bag, and if you pull too many, you bust and you lose it all. That's a fun mechanic in Quacks. And in Wonderland's War, that is built around a long, epic strategy game where you're really doing a lot more than just that. My issue with Wonderland's War that I can't get over is seeing Quacks, when I bust, I love it. I think it's funny and I keep enjoying it, and it makes me want to gamble even more next time because now I have to catch up. So it ratchets up the tension, and it's fun and it's short and it's a great time. But in Wonderland's War, for me, that randomness of drawing and busting after 2.5, maybe even 3 hours of a game doesn't feel good. It did not feel good to me. It might just be a little too random for my tastes. And that's okay. I really have enjoyed my time with Wonderland's War. I've enjoyed playing it. I kind of want to play it more, but I think I also understand that it's not necessarily my game. And that's okay. I think it's going to be a lot of other people's game. And I think it's worth just mentioning just how great the game is. And that I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it, but it doesn't exactly mesh with my taste perfectly. So the next game I want to talk about is actually a game that is really good. And it's probably going to be most people's number one game of the year. It would not surprise me. And why is this game not ending up on my all-time favorites list? I don't know. The game is Ark Nova. And unfortunately, I don't have really much footage of me playing it or setting it up or anything. But Ark Nova, if you haven't heard, is a deep, strategy game that's heavy and long and really strategic, and it's engaging. And the beauty is, even though this is a long game, it is engaging. You're thinking about it the whole time. I have not been bored playing Arc Nova, which ultimately for big, heavy games can really be the crux that it can live or die by. If it is boring when you are waiting for other people and you're not thinking about what you want to do, that game is not going to last long. But Arc Nova didn't have that problem for me. I kept thinking about what I wanted to do. It was entertaining the whole way through. And if you know me, you know that I love heavy Euro games. So why is this game not my favorite game? And ultimately, it might become that. I need to play it more. But right now, there's two challenges that it faces. One challenge is I feel like the game, well, it has too big of a deck. There are so many cards that if you want to build your strategy around something, around a certain type of animal or animals from a certain region, the luck of the draw might not go your way. The objectives that everyone's racing for, there might not be that many cards that come up that follow that objective. And so the race becomes more tight, or maybe it's really loose. It's hard to know what's going to happen. And I don't love that. I think the game would be better if there were half as many cards, if it was streamlined just that much. You cut out some of the mechanics, but you just make it tighter so you know a little bit more of what's going to come out, and you can plan your strategies around that. Still variability, still variety of when they come out, and maybe you're not seeing everything. But for me, I don't like that I'm not able to rely on a strategy that I want to build right off the first turn, even though the game's asking me to do such. The other qualm that I have is the game is really long. I think it would be better if it was an hour shorter. And an hour is a long time. So I think it's just too long. That said, I'm engaged the whole time. It's fun the whole time. So if I play this a lot, I could see myself, first of all, being able to play it shorter. And secondly, getting over those humps and just loving it and loving it for the variety. But that said, I think, as of right now, it stands that Arc Nova is a fantastic game that I think people should try, but it falls short in just those few areas where it doesn't quite match with my personal favorites. Now, the next game is an honorable mention, not because I don't think this game deserves to be one of my favorites of all time, but because I've only played it once. This is a game that I had no expectations for. It's called Foundations of Rome. And I don't have any footage of Foundations of Rome because when Foundations of Rome launched on Kickstarter a few years ago, I thought it was ridiculous. It was a simple tile-laying Euro game that was the most overproduced mess that I've ever seen. There was no way I was going to back this. I thought it was crazy. And it released this year, and it released to praise and buzz. And I'm going to shout out to Dan King, the Game Boy Geek, who really loved it. And I actually really love a lot of Dan King's suggestions. So I was like, you know what? I want to try this. And when I went to a convention, FallCon in Calgary, which is a fantastic convention if you live in Western Canada, I got the chance to try it. I really wanted to see, hey, what is this game? Why do people like it? I'll never own it. And I played Foundations of Rome, and it blew me away. It was so short. It was so simple. It was so easy to describe. We read through the rule book as a group, and we were playing within minutes. And yet, the whole way through the game, it was tense, tight decisions that didn't take a long time, but were oh so hard to make the whole way through the game. This is the gateway game that I have not been able to stop thinking about. I really can't stop thinking about it. Now I'm on the quest to find an affordable copy of Foundations of Rome because it is so good. And I wish it wasn't a $300 game that other people could get their hands on. But I'm really hoping that in the future, I do find a copy. I'm able to play it more and we'll see if it really lives up to that first experience that I had. But honestly, that's amazing. Now, if you hear that and you're like, oh, I got to get this super expensive, simple tile laying game, I don't necessarily think that's true. In fact, I think it's ridiculous that I'm even saying this right now. It stuck with me more than probably any other game that I've played, than any other game other than the ones that are on this list from the year. But it's hard for me to suggest Foundations of Rome when there are such amazing affordable games that are these tile laying games that you could play. If I was to give a suggestion, I would suggest My City by the great Reiner Knizia. My City is a simple tile laying game that's a legacy game, so you play through it with many, many chapters. It's really short. It's really simple, but it evolves as you play it more and more and more. It works really well as a couple game, which is how I've played it. So I've only played My City 2-player, but it's a good suggestion and it's really affordable. I would recommend, if you're looking for that genre of game or that style of game, try My City. It's really good. It's a great campaign if you have a significant other that likes to game and you want something simple, quick to play with them. I'd suggest that. But if you really like shiny things and have money to burn, yeah, Foundations of Rome seems amazing. I'd really like to try it more. So those are my honorable mentions. And I kind of did give them in order. Wonderland's War, yeah, not for me, but really cool. You should check it out. Ark Nova, really good game. It just hasn't exactly clicked with me the way that I want it to. That seems to be clicking with everyone else. And I need to play it more. And then Foundations of Rome. Wow, I got to play it more than once. But now I've got 4 games that are not honorable mentions. These 4 games have come out in 2022, and they've all reached this height of like, wow, this is amazing. I love this. Like I said, I don't think there's ever been a year where I've had more games that have reached my all-time favorite game list. I'm pretty selective about the games that I ultimately fall in love with. I don't fall in love with every game that I play. And as a result, if I do fall in love with a game, it has to be really good, or at least good for me. And so the 4 games that I have, I've fallen in love with. Now, the first might be a surprise. And honestly, it is, I should say the 4th place. It's a little bit of a distant 4th. So I don't know where it would fall. I haven't ranked it, but it's probably in the 30s or 40s of my favorite games of all time. It's not up there at the very top, but not because it's a bad game. It's a really good game, and nobody is talking about this game. This is the hidden gem of 2022, ladies and gentlemen. And that game is Welcome to the Moon. You might look at this and be like, welcome to? Are you serious, Ben? Yeah, I'm bloody serious. Welcome to the Moon has somehow blown me away. I've been playing it almost every night with my wife, and we have been loving it. Now, you might be like, oh, is this your first Welcome to? No. I've got right here the original Welcome to, which was fun. It's a flip and write, like a roll and write, except with cards, and you're making simple decisions. It's really easy to play. It plays up to 99 players or 100 players on the box, so you can play with a ton of people. It's really easy to explain. It's fun, it's simple, it's light and cute. I've played it with my classes at school. I enjoy it a lot, but it's pretty simple. Now, then they came out with Welcome to Las Vegas. Now, this is a little bit more of a gamery game of Welcome to. It uses the same mechanics. Hey, you've got to put your numbers in ascending order per row and match up the icons with the powers and try and score as many points. And this one, there's more to think about. There's more to do. Not as simple. I wouldn't recommend it for a large group. I wouldn't recommend it for anybody. It's more gamery. Now, that said, my wife really loves Welcome to Las Vegas. She fell in love with this. We played it so much that I was like, okay, I do not want to play this game anymore. So obviously that has some merit. But for me, it was just another version of Welcome to. It's kind of like the expansion max in Welcome to, which really felt like the same game with a small twist. This had more twists, but it's kind of the same game. But then we get to my actual game, Welcome to the Moon. And you think, okay, it's just another Welcome to. You put numbers in ascending order, and every turn you have to choose the number with its matching icon, and the icons do something different. Yeah, that's the game. It's the same. Except this has 8 different games within. And they're not like the little expansions from the original Welcome to, where it's the same game with slight variations. No. These are really different. It's awesome. The first one is not a race for victory points. It's just a race to be the first one to complete the objective. That is very different. The second one, instead of listing, multiple rows in ascending order, you just have one ginormous row that's impossible to go in ascending order. So then you have to use icons in order to cut it up into smaller chunks and sections. And every other game feels radically different. Not only that, it comes with a campaign that lets you play through them and take scores over time and count up your scores game after game after game. So there's 8 of these different games, and they really are different in here. But then, who wins gets to choose what kind of missions or objectives that you're racing for in the next game. And then after you finish all 8 games, that campaign, you can then go into the campaign again. And it's got this legacy style campaign that you can play multiple times. And because it's so short and simple, this is great. I have not delved into these deeper campaigns that much yet. I just got this a little while ago, and I'm really wowed by it. This is a game that I think can teach people to enjoy learning rules. And that sounds crazy. For me, that's the biggest barrier of entry to get someone to learn and play a game with me is I have to teach them in the game. And unless they are freaks like me, they do not like that. But Welcome to the Moon makes learning the game exciting. And you're doing it 8 times, but it's simple enough. It's not too hard to learn, but the differences are exciting enough that you want to learn them. I really recommend this to everybody. Welcome to the Moon. That's my number 4. Absolutely incredible. I'm wowed. Okay, my number 3 game of all time. This is probably going to be on a lot of lists this year. It is a hidden movement game. And with that said, some of you are going to be able to guess what it is right away. I love hidden movement games. Letters from Whitechapel, I think, is absolutely an iconic classic that's so rich and deep, where you as a team are really using deduction to try and figure out where Jack the Ripper is. It's super fun. It can be really long. It can be really heady and heavy. It's not for everybody, but it's great. There are lots of others. Scotland Yard, Fury of Dracula, Spectre Ops, so many more. And I really enjoy this mechanic. And honestly, I thought Letters from Whitechapel would be my favorite. But this year, I experienced Mind Management, or Mind MGMT. And Mind Management is, oh my goodness, a game. It is a game that it distills all the things that I love about hidden movement into a short time frame and absolutely cohesive, deductive, smart, cooperative gameplay. Well, cooperative and competitive. You got one person hiding and running away, and you've got the other team, which can be one person. It works really well as 2-player. My wife and I love it. Or a whole team trying to hunt them down. It's really good. It's kind of simple to play and learn, but man, it's just so fun. It's fun. It's really good. And when I first looked at it, I thought the graphic design was messy. Like the art style is a little bit messy. It's based on a comic book or a graphic novel, I'm sorry, of Mind MGMT. I have not read this graphic novel, but playing this so many times has made me want to read it. And I don't know if I've ever read a graphic novel. I love reading novels, but I'm not really a graphic novel person or a comic book person. But man, the game's theme is so rich. And as I played it, after the first game, I was sold in the graphic design. When I first looked at it, I thought it was kind of ugly as sin, to be honest, but now I love it. And it's really easy to see things, and it makes it easy to parse the information and work as a team to figure out what might have happened. It never gives you too much information where you can absolutely figure it out. There's still a little bit of a guessing game and a reading your enemy game. But man, Mind Management, it's got to be the best hidden movement game that I've ever played. I love it. I love it. I love it. And it is easily among my favorite games of all time. Absolutely incredible. If you get a chance to play it, absolutely do so. I borrowed a copy and I played it. And I was like, wow, I had to hunt down a deluxe edition and find it because it's just so good. I didn't even talk about when you're playing with the same group of people and when one side loses, there is this whole shift system where you can introduce more and more and more rules and abilities to make it easier for that team that just lost, and the game expands as you play it more and more. I haven't unlocked everything in the shift system, but man, it's cool and exciting to finish a game and see what unlocks. It's just exciting. You know, it's one thing exciting about Welcome to the Moon, but here, what a great game. All right. The next game, I just can't believe how good these games are. Like, all these came out in 2022. That's crazy. The next game is really one of my favorite games of all time. And it goes back to one of my favorite experiences of all time, which is lying to my friends. I have loved playing social deduction games with my friends. Be it Battlestar Galactica, way back in the day when that show was on the air and that board game came out. Some of my favorite board gaming experiences are playing Battlestar Galactica and just the chaos that ensues. Werewolf or Mafia, and then the Resistance, which honestly was one of my favorite games at the time when I was playing Resistance. I played it for years. I've played it hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of times. Social deduction is fun. Now, it's not for everybody. Not everybody feels comfortable lying. Not everybody feels comfortable deceiving other people and trying to, convince them that they're one of the good guys. Not everybody likes being lied to. But if you like werewolf style games, this year came out with a game that is the best social deduction game of all time. Now, I put that with a caveat. Werewords is amazing. Werewords isn't moving anywhere, but it's not really social deduction first. It's more a guessing game with a fun social deduction twist. But of course, this is not going to be a surprise to people that have been following board games. Blood on the Clock Tower. Blood on the Clock Tower really is the best social deduction game there is. I've never played one anything like it. It is a social deduction game. You can see a pattern in this in Mind Management. You have information. Everybody that plays the game has information. They are a valuable asset on their team, or a detriment if you might be an outsider, and they cause interesting ripples. Every roll is interesting. That is not the case. If you're a villager in Werewolf, that's boring. You want to have exciting rolls, and the rolls in here are exciting, and they change the game dramatically. The storyteller in Werewolf is generally a boring roll, but in here, you are weaving a tale of deception and fun, and you get to tell the story. You get to choose what roles are in there. You get to choose what happens, and it's really magical. I love playing it. I love playing as a good guy. I love playing as a bad guy. I love running it. I love Blood on the Clock Tower. It is so fun. It is the entree. I find that most social deduction games like the Resistance or Werewords or Werewolf, you could play them for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is, as a taste, as, a little game before the meal. Blood on the Clock Tower is the meal. This is the entree. This is something that you have to be committed to play, and everybody has to be committed to at least try and learn the rules the roles, sorry. And they've done a great job. This production is ridiculously over the top to help people know what roles can be in the game, what they do. The production's amazing. But if you get a group of people that want to play, oh my goodness, this is going to be a game that I will be playing for many years to come. I cannot foresee a time when I will not be playing Blood on the Clock Tower. It is that good. So that is my number 2 game of the year. Again, this is ridiculous. My management, when I played it, I did not think it was possible for that not to be my favorite game of the year. And yet, Blood on the Clock Tower came. And let's talk about my number 1. Now, I've already mentioned this one in a video. And that is the empty box I have here of Oathsworn. Why is it empty, you ask? Because it's freaking heavy when it's not empty. And I just pulled it out last night to play it. Oathsworn is, well, it's really good. Right now, it is the highest average rated game by users on BoardGameGeek, which if that means anything to you, it means people really love it. I really love it. It's absolutely amazing. I gave a long review, and you can watch that. I am pretty passionate about this game. It's not necessarily my favorite game of all time, but it is absolutely among my favorite games of all time. Oathsworn is so good. And the more that I play it, somehow I'm even more amazed and I'm even more impressed with it. By the way, it's a boss battler with a story half that is actually well written. And I'm one of the people that don't think there's any board games that are really well written, that have really well written narratives. That's not to say the narratives are terrible in some of the narrative written games, but Oathsworn is something that I want to delve into. You've got that. There's tests and trials that you can do as a group, and it's really, really engaging. And then there's this boss battler encounter fight, and the fight is smart. It kind of reminds me of Gloomhaven in like, you've got to think. It's more of a strategy game than just a dice chucker. It's very different than Gloomhaven. So I say that with a huge caveat. I think Gloomhaven is more of a Euro game than this. But that said, the mechanics really are interesting enough that I think you should look it up if you haven't. Like I said, I do have a video reviewing this. And honestly, all of these 4 favorite games that I have are probably games that I'm going to be reviewing because I keep playing them. And that's what I want to do. I want to review the games that I become an expert in, that I've played so much, and I want to tell people what they're like. I don't want to review games that I've only played once or twice or 3 or 4 times because I'm not an expert in it. These are my first impressions, so to speak. But Oathsworn, I feel like I've now played enough where I can tell you, hot diggity dog, this game is something special. And so that's, in my opinion, the best games of 2022. I'm in shock. I'm in awe. This is amazing. I just realized I forgot to turn on my fireplace. So there's that. But really, I hope that you have got a bunch of games that you have fallen in love with. And honestly, I want to hear them. If you have a game that you're really in love with, that came out this year, that I didn't even talk about, mention it, because maybe I haven't tried it. There's a lot of games that came out that I did not try. There's some games that I have that will be under the tree or in my, that I'm waiting to play. So I'm very excited about a few, but ultimately, I can't believe how good some of these games have been that have come out this year. And I want to hear if there's any that you think that I may have missed. So please let me know. And that's it. So Merry Christmas. I hope that 2022 has been an excellent year for you as well, because it's full of bangers, like I said. Now, if you stuck to this point, this is where I can talk about, hey, where have I been? I put my last video up like a month and a half ago. I thought I was going to do more than this. I thought I was going to do more than this. I was so excited. I've been waiting to start my YouTube channel for 10 years. That's not even a joke. I've really been talking about it forever. And I was so excited. Oathsworn I thought was the perfect game. I fell in love with it, and I'm like, I need to tell people about it. So I thought it was a really good springboard from where I could. I had tons of video ideas that I started writing scripts for, and really starting to play and delve deep into. But pretty much right after I launched my video, I actually got really sick. I was in the hospital for about a week. I had tubes going in my stomach and up my nose and IVs, and it was not great. And I have been recovering for this whole time. I have been on and off work. It has been a challenge for me. I have been doing good. And I haven't even been playing games very much because I don't have the stamina to sit for hours. So just now I'm trying to get back into Oathsworn because I want to keep playing it. That's why I've been playing a lot of Welcome to the Moon, because it's short and I have been able to sit and play that, even if it's just one game with my wife. So I've been struggling. The good news is they've made some progress. So, my body has struggled to heal from this incident that I've done. But in the process, I've also learned that one of the reasons why I'm not healing is because as a baker, I just ironically happen to be celiac as well. That literally was just this week. So I've started a celiac diet. Hopefully over the next few weeks or month, I'll start feeling better from that. It's not exactly exciting to not be eating gluten anymore. But hopefully my body will be able to heal, and I'll be able to give content more regularly. And I was kind of alluding to this. I think I want to give a separate video of, hey, I have questions for you. What do you want? And this is what the idea for my channel will be. But I really want to say, for everyone that subscribed and gave me nice comments on that first video, I didn't get any hateful comment. Everything that I heard was kind. People reached out and sent messages and commented on the video, and everything was kind and uplifting. And it made, I was in the hospital reading this, and I was really, really so touched by it. And I really want to say thank you. It's obviously not been an easy month and a half for me. It's even hard for me to, I'm just really grateful. And I hope to be doing this more. I hope to, have a more regular cadence to videos. That said, I am still sick. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm still not feeling great. So, I don't want to make any promises right now. I do have a lot of videos on the horizon. This was supposed to be my 5th or 6th video. It's unscripted for a reason, but I'm hoping to get back into video making and playing board games on a more serious, long-term basis. There I can play them more regularly. So I just want to say thank you to everybody. I hope I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I'm getting better, and hopefully by the new year, I am feeling fantastic, better than I felt in years, because apparently I was eating stuff I was allergic to. But with that said, have a great game night soon.